I fell in love with the Argentine tango after watching this movie. So in love that I started taking tango lessons, and then I went to Argentina to see the people tangoing in the streets. And I highly recommend not only watching this movie, but then learning the tango, and then going to Argentina, of course. I mean, why else would you be alive? But be warned, there are two types of tango. There's the ballroom tango, with the flowing gowns and the feathers everywhere. I'm not talking about that. No. No. I'm talking about the Argentine tango, the street tango. Women wearing dresses with very high slits, and the men in fedoras holding knives in between their teeth. That is my kind of tango. Let's get into it. Meet Stephanie. Her entire world is about to change to the point of her having a complete and utter identity crisis. So we start off in the 1920s with Stephanie, the young, beautiful wife of an older, rich judge husband. And they are taking a cruise from France to Buenos Aires. And on their cruise, one night, they have an argument. Stephanie storms out of the dining room and onto the deck to witness a woman who is stripping out of her clothes, and she jumps overboard into the dark, cold waters below. The drama has begun. Stephanie runs down. She grabs this woman's clothes, leaving her own shoes behind. Her husband recognizes her shoes, believes that she has jumped overboard. Stephanie hides out in the ship, swapping her passport photograph with the dead woman's, and she arrives in Argentina with a new identity. Stephanie is now Alba. She is met by Zico, a young, charming man who has ordered Alba as his bride. He takes her home to meet his mother. They buy an expensive wedding ring and they get married. And it all seems to be going fine. But the mood changes on their wedding night, when Zuko brings the jeweler into their bedroom, explaining that Alba needs to satisfy the jeweler to pay for the wedding ring. I mean, shocking. Alba obviously protests, but Zuko punches her in the gut and leaves the jeweler and Stephanie alone so that she can start paying him back. But Stephanie manages to grab a knife and she stabs the jeweler, who, covered in blood, staggers downstairs calling for a doctor, of course. But just then a man appears, and this is Cholo, king of the Argentine tango. He decides that the jeweler is done for, stabbing him to death before heading upstairs to deal with Alba, who is waiting, covered in blood, terrified, confused, and holding a dagger in each hand. She's ready. The door swings open and Cholo enters. He overpowers poor, terrified Alba, but she begs him to spare her, and he does. He takes her and Zuko to the jewelry shop, plants the jeweler's dead body, trying to make it look like a robbery. The jeweler is left stabbed and dead in his shop, and Alba gets taken back to the family business, a bordello. not the clean-cut family that they initially seemed. And she is put to work as a hooker. Since Cholo saved her life, he now takes ownership of Alba, cutting her hair and changing her look to suit him. And it's all very 1920s with this Louise Brooks bob. But the police suspect that either Zuko, his mother, or Alba is connected to the death of the jeweler. So they go to the bordello and interrogate them. But Cholo arrives. A fight breaks out and he sends the cops packing. Before long, Alba manages to escape. She runs through the streets until she finds the police, telling them that she's been kidnapped and asking them to take her home. The police seem to know of the judge and where he lives. So Alba jumps into the police car and they drive off into the night. They arrive. Alba and the cops jump out of their car. They run through the front door only to discover that the dirty cops have delivered her back to the brothel, and she is mortified. She is taken upstairs and chained up, but Cholo arrives and tells her that if she ever tries to escape again, he'll kill her. She agrees to behave, obviously, and she says she'll do whatever she's told to do. So Cholo blindfolds her and his orchestra. He has a thing about blindfolding the poor orchestra as well, and they tango, because what else are you going to do? Now, with Alba compliant, Cholo puts her in his car and takes her off to the abattoir. Oh, this is going to be the ultimate first date. I'm telling you, this is my ultimate first date. They go off to the abattoir, where they tango through the blood in the dark of night. They tango through the hanging meat, with knives pointed at each other's throat. They tango. And this is where the love begins. Unbeknown to Cholo, Zuko, his friend, has told the cops that Cholo is the murderer, and the cops head to the abattoir. And as Cholo and Alba are leaving their abattoir tango, they're met by the police and there's a shootout. Cholo and Alba kill the cops and drive off. Cholo, realizing that his friend has betrayed him, takes Alba back to the bordello to confront Zuko. But soon enough, more cops show up at the bordello looking for them. So Cholo and Alba make a run for it. The cops give chase, shooting poor Cholo in the arm. He lifts Alba up into a window, but she refuses to help him because he's got a shot arm, he can't lift himself up, and she's like, bugger you. So she leaves him to a near certain death, and Alba escapes. She is next seen in a hospital. Her husband has been called, and she is finally reconnected with him and safe. He takes her home, where she claims to have insomnia and not remember anything that's happened to her. And she quickly settles into her life of luxury. Right, her husband, not approving of her black bob, brings in the wigs. He buys her a new wardrobe, and everything is back to normal. But soon enough, her new life is threatened. The butler arrives, and she gets called downstairs. The butler tells her that her tango instructor is here for their lesson. And she's like, what? What is going on? So she heads downstairs, only to come face to face with Cholo. He tells her that no matter what, no matter where she lives or what she does, she will always belong to him. And they tango. Of course, they tango. But soon enough the husband comes home and Cholo manages to insult the judge, who calls his security and has Cholo thrown out, calling him gutter trash. But Cholo overpowers the security and vanishes. Curiosity gets the better of Alba, and for some bizarre reason, one day she decides to go back to the abattoir. She catches a taxi, looks around in the hopes of seeing Cholo to remember their first abattoir tango date, but he's not there. She climbs back into her taxi to go home, only to be met by Zuko, who's hiding in her poor taxi, who overpowers her and takes her back to the bordello, where she is left shackled on the floor. Zuko, having discovered that Alba is married to this wealthy judge, decides to blackmail him, paying a fortune for her safe return. The judge arrives with a big bag of cash, but before anyone can leave, they are alerted to the presence of Cholo, who has now entered the building, the bordello. Cholo kills Zuko, leaving Alba between her husband and Cholo. She's got husband on the one end, Cholo on the other, and both are calling for her. The husband is, Stephanie, come here, Stephanie. And Cholo is, Alba, come to me, Alba. And she doesn't know which way to go. She pivots between these two men, only to finally run to Cholo. Of course. The judge pulls out his gun and shoots, hitting Alba in the back. He shoots again, this time hitting Cholo, who grabs his knife, spins around in a very tango way, and throws his dagger across the room, where it stabs the judge in the throat. And of course he drops down dead. Both shot, Cholo and Alba embrace, and Cholo carries Alba to the dance floor for one last tango. But suddenly the doors swing open and the entire police department walk in, guns poised. They open fire, shooting them both. And in the throes of death, Cholo lifts Alba up, and the tango is over. The tango of love, the tango of death, the ultimate tango.